All right, we are live once again on a late night stream. I decided to go live today because, as I said, I'm trying to be more consistent with my going live. So, all I wanted to do was talk about a couple of things. And also, if anybody comes into the room and want to get and hop on the live, then they're more than welcome and they can exchange their ideas. They can exchange their views and opinions about certain things. But what I want to talk about first and foremost is I'm just going to cut straight to the chase. What I want to talk about first and foremost is I want to talk about the whole boxing situations. There's a couple of situations in boxing that have been occurring, and it's just like, boxing at the end of the day is a circus. It's really boxing is more of a soap opera than it is a sport at this time, at least in the prize fighting world. Boxing is more of a soap opera. It's not really even a sport anymore, so to say. But anyway, let's get to it. The first thing I want to talk about is the whole Canelo situation. Um, I'm not really surprised about the fight being canceled because of the negotiations and because of what was being asked. I'm not really surprised about it. The reason why I'm not surprised about it is because of the simple fact that when you're dealing with a person like Canelo, he's going to want every single solitary advantage he can get, no matter what. And one thing I want to say too about it is that um, um, the thing is we don't even know um, what he was gonna ask for in the hydration clause. He was according to Caleb Plant, he was asking for all these things. He was asking for um, the same money if he fought a replacement guy. He was asking for just all these kind of things. And they obliged to those things, but it still wasn't enough at the end. I don't really know what happened in the whole situation. But if I were a betting man, I would say that maybe one of the things that Caleb Plant didn't want to disclose, but was probably one of the stipulations with the fight happening, although Canelo is a free agent. Um, PBC probably said, you're gonna have to you may have to go through some other dudes in order to get that title shot. And I think that's what they were trying to do. And Caleb Plant didn't want to disclose that. But um, the thing is that um, it wasn't gonna go down with him, and so that's why he didn't. That's why the fight we're not going to see that fight, you know. Or if we do see that fight, as I said in my one of my previous videos, we'll see that fight in December, more or less. So we're definitely not going to see the fight right now. It's not happening in September. So this opens up Pandora's box further because now you have and he's gonna continue to cap. He's always been capping. It's sad that he caps so much because it's just like, bro, he doesn't know when to shut up. But now you have Jamal Charlo saying that, you know, instead of fight Canelo, you can fight me. and he's talking to Caleb Plant, and of course he says, "I'll knock him out." You know, he says that about every opponent. He said that about Juan Montreal, that he was going to knock him out. We saw how that went. He looked like crap in that fight. Um, and he said that about Brandon Adams. He said that about everybody. He to be honest, with the power with Jamal Charlo, is really pretty overrated. You know, I think the last dude he knocked out was Dennis Hogan, and Dennis Hogan was coming up in weight. And I believe that Dennis Hogan actually um, had a fight with Jaime Munguia, in which a lot of people thought he won that fight. And so that's the last dude he knocked out. So with that being said, Jamal Charlo wouldn't knock out Caleb Plant. What may happen if that fight were to become uh, be put into fruition is that Caleb Plant would box circles around Jamal Charlo. You know, um, Matthew Korobov is a better boxer. No, Caleb Plant is a better boxer than Matthew Korobov. And we saw what Matthew Korobov did to Jamal Charlo. So imagine what Caleb Plant would do to Jamal Charlo if those two were to lock horns. In fact, like, I'm not gonna even lie, that fight would be a wash. Like, I think that, to be honest, that I couldn't even give Jamal Charlo a chance of winning like more than 2 rounds if he were to fight Caleb Plant. I'm just sorry, but styles make fights. So, with that being said, um, you know, it, it's not going to be a good matchup. But of course, he's saying that he'll knock him out. And now you have also the fight with Benavidez and Uzcategui. Now, in that fight, it's going to be like a puzzle, man. It really is, because now they're saying in that fight that um that the winner of that fight will be the mandatory for Canelo's WBC. But here's the thing. This is the whole thing. The title eliminators is just a title. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're actually going to be fighting a literal title eliminator. Because here's the thing, for example, Erickson Lubin. Erickson Lubin already fought like 3 title eliminators, but he still has yet to get a title shot. So when they say, "Oh, it's a title eliminator," there's no guarantee that that fight is going to happen, for the title. There's no guarantees at all. I think it's just hearsay most of the time. But anyhow, though, that's still it. The thing is if Charlo moves up to 168, he's definitely gonna have to see Benavidez, because he was talking so much head, talking so fly about Benavidez, about how he'll knock him out, about how he'll do this, that, and that to him. So if he was talking all that trash, then he has to see him. I mean, don't just run to Caleb Plant. See Benavidez, because you were talking fly about him, about you'll knock him out, you'll do this, and you'll do that, and you'll do the other. Now all of a sudden you got cold feet. So that's my whole point. You know what I mean? Don't just think that you can go to what you consider the weakest link at 168. You better go to the strongest link at 168, or we can say the boogeyman at 168. So that's my whole point about the whole situation. But anyhow, I don't know what's going to happen in this whole 168 saga. Now you have them talking about Dimitri Bivol being a potential Canelo opponent, but I really don't think that happens either. We're going to be in August soon. I don't think they're going to be able to have a full training camp, a full 8-week camp for the fight in September. So, to be honest with you, I really don't think a fight happens in September with Canelo. I really doubt that it happens. True story. Real talk. So, the way I look at it is this: they can fight each other. All of them can fight each other. We already know that Charlo ain't gonna fight Andre. That's out of the question. Charlo is a freaking Charlo and his trainer are cowards, so they're not gonna fight. That fight's not gonna happen. We can stop holding our breath for that fight to happen. Now, realistically, since it seems like negotiating with Canelo is like pulling teeth, the possible fights that can happen at 168 are um, between those three: Charlo, Benavidez, and Plant. But I think people are also sleeping on my guy, David Morrell Jr. Although David Morrell Jr. is young, he's only like 3 or 4 fights in. I think he can hang with those guys. I really do. I think he has all the necessary tools to hang with those guys. And I just think he needs to be given the chance to show that he can hang with those guys. He has the interim WBA belt, so he doesn't really have anything to offer in terms of hardware. But I think really that if given the chance, he would be able to hold his own with those people, with those guys. So now there is the lightweight division, and I don't know what to say. The lightweight division is pretty much a circus too, because unfortunately you have people who are holding up the lightweight division. Uh, Notably, I'm gonna say it, and this is gonna be unpopular, but Ryan Garcia is holding up the division. Tiafimo is holding up the division as well. The reason why they're holding up the division is because they don't want to fight nobody and they don't want to make the big fights. The bottom line is that Ryan Garcia, Tiafimo Lopez are pretty much divas. And with Tiafimo, I think he's cost Triller millions of dollars already. And when it comes to Ryan Garcia, I don't think he wants to fight personally. I really don't think he even wants to fight because he says he's coming back. He says he's this with a vengeance, and he hasn't even named the opponent that he wants to fight. Um, we all know that Mike Coppinger, he was trying to egg on a Ryan Garcia versus Jojo Diaz fight, but I don't even know if that fight was even going to be made at all. I don't even know if there was going to be any kind of if that fight was going to come into fruition anyway. Although I think it would have been an in-house fight, both Golden Boy Um, but I don't think they were thrilled on making the fight. I really don't. I'm gonna be honest with you. Ever since ever since Ryan Garcia fought Luke Campbell and he was dropped by Luke Campbell. Speaking of which, Luke Campbell retired. He said that, he's done with boxing. He wants to retire, focus on his family. Um, Kudos to him. He did fight some names he fought. I think uh he definitely fought Vasily Lomachenko. I believe he fought Linares too, if I'm not mistaken. He actually he actually got beat by one of the homies from France, EF's Mindy. He beat him the first time, but then Mindy beat him the second time. And yeah, salute to Luke Campbell. He retired. Um and may all best of luck to him in his future endeavors, whatever his endeavors may be. But now back to Ryan Garcia. I think Oscar De La Hoya, what he's gonna do is, I think he's just gonna honestly protect Ryan Garcia as long as he can. Because of the simple fact that Ryan Garcia has a marketable image. So the thing is that once Ryan Garcia got dropped by Luke Campbell, that was it. You know, the thing is now in boxing, not only is it so important not to have a blemish on your record, to have a O, not only is it important for everybody to try to be undefeated, now you can't even get dropped. You can't even get dropped because a lot of these fanboys, what they'll mention is they'll mention, oh, such and such was dropped in his last fight. Such and such was dropped in. And it's like, yeah, it's boxing. It happens. You know what I mean? So I think what Oscar is going to do is just going to protect this dude as much as he can. And I would not be surprised if the next fights we see with him are just going to be like these hole in the wall opponents. They're not going to even be like legitimate opponents. But anyhow, with Teofimo Lopez, I think there was talk about him fighting in September, but I don't think he is going to fight in September. I think that's just cap, or a fight on Triller. I think it's just cap, and fighting Australia. I think that's cap as well. I think what he's gonna do is he's just gonna hold out and wait until the rematch with Lomachenko in December. I think that's what he's gonna do. I think that's the ultimate plan, you know, because even I think Lomachenko even gave the date. He even gave a date. I think December 11th or something like that. But still no Devin Haney. We're still not going to get the Devin Haney fight. You know what I mean? We're not going to get a Ryan Garcia Devin Haney fight. We're not going to get a Teofimo Lopez Devin Haney fight. So what Devin Haney can do is Richard Colmay has been calling his name, so I think that could be a good fight for Devin Haney. The reason why I say that a Richard Colmay fight can be good for Devin Haney is because Richard Colmay, he's been in there with some guys. He's been in there with Teofimo. and also he's been in there with Robert Easter, so he's been battle tested. So that would be a good scrap for him. Um, I have a feeling it would play out like maybe Floyd Mayweather when he fought Philip Endow, or when Floyd Mayweather fought Justin Juco. It may look like that, like one of those fights. So I think if anything, Devin Haney should go after that fight, a Richard Commey fight. It would be good for him. Um, Now there was one live in which Rolly did, and he said he quit boxing, and he said he's just gonna focus on OnlyFans. So I don't know if he would fight. Uh, like I don't know if he's really thrilled or keen to really fight Devin Haney as he said he was before. If he's saying that he's gonna quit boxing and he's gonna focus on OnlyFans, right? So it remains to be seen what's gonna happen in these lightweight division. But hopefully, the fights that we want to see they'll happen, and it'll be good, right? And if not, maybe Devin Haney has to move to super lightweight to get better fights. Um, Other than that, the only other thing there's two other things in regards to boxing. One of the things is, of course, of course, I would love that for the brother, but Demetrius Andre, he came out. His father said they would be able to replace Caleb Plant to fight Canelo, but we already know Canelo ain't gonna fight Andre. I mean, after what he did, and although he had every right to do what he did because Canelo's been avoiding him uh, since 154, he had every right to, storm the thing and say, you avoided me at this weight. You avoided him at 154. You avoided him at 160. Now you're avoiding him at 168. So yeah, he had every right to do that, but it's just a simple fact that because he did that, it's probably not likely that he will. Canelo definitely wouldn't fight him, you know, unfortunately. But there was something else that came out as well, and this was surprising to me that this actually came out. But it hasn't really been reported as of it hasn't really been like reported as of mainstream media, but I saw this on a Facebook post. But Billy Joe Saunders actually got arrested for kidnapping or some kind of like something that has to do with um like health, like at a health facility or something like that. I don't know too much about the situation, about all the particulars of the situation, but yeah, that's just what happened, and he got arrested. I don't know when they're going to reveal the news, but yeah. But another thing I want to talk about is the Olympics, man. It to be honest, it doesn't really even seem like the Olympics are going on. And I think a lot really what it has to do with is the whole COVID thing. You know, So it makes the Olympics less exciting, I guess, because of the simple fact that the athletes are just pretty much competing outside. One thing I will say about that whole situation is that with the lack of the audience or anything like that, it still has not kept from COVID new cases of COVID coming into the Olympics, because that's what they said. They said that now there's more cases of COVID coming in there, in the village or even just in Japan, period. So I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on. But unfortunately, and this is of course due to African politics and stuff like that, and the lack of African infrastructure. But because, you know, athletic federations were not responsible for their athletes testing, you have a lot of um, African nations who have athletes that are banned because of the testing, that the athletic federations did not follow the proper testing procedures. So now you have a lot of athletes who are banned now because of that. And then because of that, they may have not necessarily tested positive, but they still banned them. And one of the groups of athletes were, I think, people from the Nigerian relay team, and that's unfortunate. And a lot of the Nigerian relay team, what they did was they protested it. They protested the ban because they didn't think it was fair. But at the same time, we have to blame the athletic federation for it. And it sucks that it's always like this. It's always like this in these third world countries that, and especially African athletics, that and just African sports in general, just the whole spectrum of African sports, that the athletic federation, the soccer federation, the basketball federation, they don't look out for the athletes, man. And they don't think about like just doing the things the right way that you're supposed to be doing them. They definitely try to find shortcuts in these athletic federations. But also, though, one did actually come back positive, and I was just very surprised at this. But the Nigerian sprinter, the female Nigerian sprinter, Blessing Okobari, she actually came back positive. That she came back positive, tested positive for human growth hormones. So it's disappointing because they said with her, she was one of the wild cards that could have won the women's 100 meters, but now she is suspended and won't be able to compete. And speaking of which, it was surprising because in the heats, the the sister from Ivory Coast, Mary Jose Toulouse, she had the fastest qualifying time. So it's kind of crazy. Of course, the Jamaicans were there, Shelley Ann Fraser Price, and also what's her name, Elaine Thompson. She was there, of course, too. But Tolu, I was very surprised of, and I just hope she's not running herself out before it really counts. And where it really counts is in the final. You know, But anyhow, I guess the ones to look out for are definitely Elaine Thompson, Shelly Ann Fraser Price, Toulouse, Dina Asher Smith. Those are going to be the ones that are going to be gunning for the top spots, gunning for medals. Now, in terms on the men's side, you have the South African dude. Um, you have Trayvon Bromwell, and you also have. I wouldn't even count out CJ Uja as well. But all in all, the events that have happened thus far have been pretty textbook, pretty typical. You have the women's triple jump that took place. A couple of a couple of the Cuban homegirls, they qualified for the next round, which is good. Um, you had one French homegirl, she qualified for the final as well, but she's of Guinean descent. She qualified. Nice jumps. It seems like a lot of the women are jumping farther. It seems like they're a lot of the times the women they're holding their step phase longer. That's what I see about the women. You know, you have the 100-meter hurdles for the women, and I think in that I wouldn't put it past. I guess there's three women to look out for. The one, of course, is the record holder, Kendra Harrison. You also have Jasmine Camacho from Puerto Rico. She's a wild card, definitely dangerous one. And you also have Toby Amusan. And the thing is about her is that although she runs from Nigeria, I think she does all her training out here. So I think she was able to go through the proper testing procedures and avoid that ban. Now you also have the 400 hurdles, men and women's alike. And if I had to pick, you do have that Norwegian cat who has the record, but something's a little fishy about that dude, man. But you also have the dude from Qatar. His name is Samba. I think it's Abdul Rahman Samba. But you also have Rai Benjamin. Yeah, I still think that when the smoke clears, I think Rai Benjamin is going to come out on top in regards to that. Now, in regards to the women's side of the 400 hurdles, I still got Dalila. I still think Dalila is going to come out on top, although you do have the record holder Sydney McLaughlin, who ran her race. I really just think that Dalila, I think she's going to pull it out, man. So it'll be interesting to see, but it's just kind of, I don't know. As I said, it doesn't really seem like the Olympics, and that's largely due to the fact that there's no audiences or anything like that. So, but it looks like maybe I'll hold off on talking about the Hotep whores until another live stream. Maybe I'll go live tomorrow and talk about them. But I just wanted to go live real quick, kick the stuff, talk about, this boxing since it's obviously a circus at this time. And it will probably remain a circus, unfortunately, because we're not getting the fights that we want to see. But when it's all said and done, you just gotta wait and see what happens. Not really holding my breath for the Canelo fight. I really just want to see these other guys fight. I just really want to see um other guys fight. That's the thing. Like for me, I don't look to just want to see one fighter fight. I want to see other guys fight. Like I want to see Jaron in this fight. I want to see Erickson Lubin fight. I want to see who else? Who can I name who's like less maybe known? I want to see David Morrell fight. I want to see these people fight, man. I just want to see fights. I just want to see the fighters who maybe have the it factor just be able to be active no matter who they may be, right? But anyhow, I'm just gonna get off of here. This was just a quick live. Um, maybe if tomorrow I can get a whole panel of people on, then I can just continue this dialogue. And yeah, but perhaps the people who usually come on, they're busy. I understand. It is pretty late. It's around 12 o'clock here, Pacific Standard Time. So with that being said, I'm just gonna get off. If you catch the replay, just leave your thoughts, leave your comments about these situations that are going on in the sports world. And I'll catch you with the next one. Foolish signing out, and Jaram. And what may happen tomorrow is I may go live twice because I think maybe there may be a special guest who I'm going to talk to tomorrow, and we're going to be on live. And so, yeah, but Foolish signing out, and Jaram.